Global news 24 hours a day, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries in San Francisco. I'm Ed Baxter. This is Bloomberg. Yvonne?
Ed, thank you. We are joined on the phone now from Singapore by Daniel Kam, a co-founder of Bucket Technologies, to discuss the move to a cashless economy. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you are dealing with the business of handling coins in particular, which sounds like something that I would be very much interested in, given that most of my coins just end up in the bottom of my purse. So first of all, just tell us how the technology works.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yes, Bucket is a platform that digitizes physical coin change from any cash transaction at a retail point of sale. It's free for the consumer and also free for the retailer. And the way we do that is we believe that this is the most pragmatic step to actually get to a cashless society, when we can address digitization of cash usage. And so the examples, if you walk into a store and your purchase is $5.25, you would give the cashier a $10 bill and ask to bucket the change. The cashier would return you just the paper notes, the $4, and the 75 cents in change would be represented on a QR code on your receipt. And the consumer would scan that code or enter the code in on the app or the website at a later time, and it would be deposited into their Bucket account. So when the account reaches $50...
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was wondering about the value proposition. I mean, is this all to do with taking coin currency or coins out of the system?
We believe it's the first step to going towards cashless, because coins represent the largest burden of maintaining a cash instrument. And so it's easy to separate out paper and metal to start with. And for most people, whether you use cash a little bit or a lot, we can typically agree that we dislike or don't care about the coin aspect. But we would like all the value of the money, but not have to carry it around and actually use it. So we want to start there. And then because it's software-based, we can move the needle forward on removing irrelevant currency down the road.
What's the adoption rate that you're seeing right now, Daniel? Because I'm just taking a look at, I was doing some research ahead of this interview, and it seems like, countries like Korea, I guess, here in Asia are particularly more, I guess, progressive when it comes to this kind of adoption. I mean, where else are you seeing this kind of push?
You're absolutely right. It's a global problem. Every national economy is mining metals out of the ground, forging them at a loss, distributing them at a loss. So yes, there are a lot of countries that are moving forward faster than others, and Singapore is one of them as well. We are actually launching in the United States, in Northwest Arkansas, in early 2018, and hope to bring this technology and platform here to Singapore and Asia in the middle to end of 2018.
So running in parallel with what you're trying to achieve, we have digital wallets, we have cryptocurrencies. I mean, more and more, the idea of using any form of currency is evaporating.
Well, you would think, in our studies and in all of our research, most companies these days are designing for that end game where the economy is cashless, but that is clearly not the case. Just in the U.S., 35% of all retail transactions are still done in cash. It's about 60% in Singapore, and just in the world, it's about 80% still use cash. So it's still very a prevalent method of payment, and all the digital payment platforms out there and the e-wallets, they're all seeing very, very low adoption rates. And we don't think it's because they're bad products. We just think the ask for the consumer is too large. And so there needs to be some pragmatic steps to get there. But just asking someone to use a digital payment or an e-wallet just isn't working for decades.
So what practical steps can you do then, Daniel? I mean, I'm sure, when it comes to the aging populations here in Asia or the rest of the world, I mean, it's going to be very hard to change some of the hearts and minds of those to really switch to this kind of technology.
We agree. So that's why we wanted to start with some pragmatic steps, and we just thought focusing first on coins, which is a low value, and it'll never be more than 99 cents in the U.S. Here in Singapore, never more than $1.99 to start. And coins being more of a nuisance than a benefit to consumers. we wanted to start there, and all the research that we've done has proven that people are much more willing to use this technology, especially since it's free, that they capture all the value but not actually have to deal with any of the change.
So free
and this creates a behavior.
I'm sorry, free to the consumer, free to the merchant. How do you make money in all of this? Where's your margin coming from?
So our revenue is based on the interest from the aggregate deposits that the retailers then deposit at the end of day reconciliation from all the bucketed transactions.
So if interest rates rise, you do well. If they don't, not so much, right?
Possibly. But hopefully the banks see this and the banks have seen this as a very tremendous value. And so they are partnering with us to find a way, because it's in their best interest to aggregate all of these, all the value of the money as well.
So what's the response you've been getting when it comes to retailers, Daniel? I mean, are they excited by this idea and getting on board with the launch?
It's definitely a new behavior that they haven't seen before, and but the retailers that we've talked to, and we've done a large study both in Northwest Arkansas as well as here in Singapore, we have over 90% agreement that this would be a technology that they would implement.
So is this something that you came up with? Are you the inventor of this platform? and if so, I mean, how long did it take you to bring it to this point in time?
I have to give a shout out to my co-founder, Francis Huang. He's actually in Northwest Arkansas right now. He came up with this concept about 10, 12 years ago. And back then, the concept of bucket would not have been as implementable, just because the level of complexity and internet connectivity with POS systems were not at that point back in 2003, 2004. But we revisited this back in 2016, and it's something that's close to our heart, that we wanted to do something that made a measurable impact for the world, and wanted to make a difference. And so this is not a primary business to seek revenue, but really to move the needle on moving to cashless and removing coins from flowing from retailers into our pockets.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the race for cashless, so slow and steady wins the race there. Daniel Kam, thank you, co-founder of Bucket Technologies, joining us from our studio in Singapore to talk a little bit more about the prospects of a cashless economy. Coming up here on Bloomberg Daybreak Asia, we have plenty more to come and talk you through the Asian Trading Day on Bloomberg Radio.